Ladies and gents, welcome. My name is Wasmatic. Welcome to my channel and part 2 of our guide to logistics in the game of Foxhole. If you didn't catch part 1, where we look at gathering, refining, vehicle types, transporting, all of that sort of material acquisition and refining, you'll see a link to that video in the top right of your screen about now. Or maybe now. Maybe nowish. It depends, we'll find out in the edit. Anyway, so part 2, I'm going to have an overview of what I consider to be the middle section of logistics, which is how to take the materials from the refinery and put them to good use, either straight to the front line or to store them and use them to craft elements in factories or mass production factories. So, first and foremost, before we talk about any of that good stuff, I'm going to talk about storage, because depending on where you want to extract materials from the refinery, so remember we've taken the materials, put them into refinery, we've made B-mats, E-mats, HEs, diesel, all of that good stuff. It's been made, it's been refined, and we now want to store it somewhere before we use it in a factory. You don't have to, but I thought I'd start here because, when I say you don't have to, I mean you don't have to store it, but I thought I'd start here because it impacts upon how you extract items from the refinery. So this is the seaport. This is one of the places that you can hold a stockpile. There is a public stockpile, and you can also have a private stockpile, which is accessible by using a code. If you create it, you can access it, or you can share the code with other people. So we here, for example, you'll see this is the screen, this is the inventory, these are the stockpiles, and if you click, this is the public stockpile at the moment, so anyone can use any of these items. This is all free to the public. And you can see here we have a shield SC, and this is a shield specific stockpile, so only members of shield who have the code to access this can use it. So you can have stockpiles in seaports like this. You can also have stockpiles, and I have created last night a stockpile over, you see this is a storage depot. Okay, so you will see these storage depots scattered around. They also have cranes next to them, so you can store items from various containers. You can't put scrap into them, but you can anything that you can put into a crate, which I'll touch upon. Right, so you can see where it says public and tab. Tab means there are other stockpiles that I have access to in that particular storage facility. So if I press tab now, you'll see that I have created one called was, which is in the seaport here. I did that last night. Also, just to show you, I created one here. That's public in the storage depot, and that's was. Okay, so you have your stockpile. I would suggest before you extract any materials from your refinery, if you plan on storing them temporarily in a stockpile, then create one for yourself or your squad. And these stockpiles, I think, last for 2 days, so you can go, if nobody extracts anything from the stockpile in 2 days, then I think all the items in there will go straight to public. So you have to be very careful and manage your timers, just like the refinery as well. If you don't take items out of the refinery within a couple of days, they will go straight to public as well. So you could lose some pretty valuable resources if you're not on top of your sort of timings. So this is the stockpile, again, the public. If I was to extract something from a public stockpile, if you look at the, let's take the R1 hauler, it's very common. If I click on that, you'll see it's assembling here. It's really slow. It's really slow. Okay, that's going to take quite a while because it's from the public stockpile. If I was to take something from the shield stockpile, for example, I take an R1 hauler, you'll see how much quicker it is to take it from your own private stockpile. There, we're done. So it's always more efficient in terms of time if you can take an item from a private stockpile. Okay, you can create one for yourself if you like, as long as you're going to keep using it. You can have one for a squad. Now that's really important because that touches upon how and in what format you're going to extract items from the refinery. Okay, so here we are at the refinery. I'm going to access the refinery, and you will see that I've got personal tab selected, if you remember from the first video, and I have some basic materials here which I can extract. Okay, there's also some items for the public. I'm going to take them from my personal because I want to show you how this works. If you click on this, it will fill your hauler. Okay, And there's a little trick you can use if you want to do a factory run and not waste resources. But if I just click on this, it will drop everything in, as many as it can, into the hauler. So I now have these basic materials in my hauler, and now I'm going to go back to the seaport and I'm going to try and put them into a private, the Shield Squad stockpile. Back at the seaport, and I have the Shield stockpile selected. Now what you would normally do if you want to submit things to the stockpile is you would right click, and I normally just go submit all to stockpile. So if I click on that now, bear in mind I've just clicked on these to extract them from my personal. So in theory this should be my resources. If I try and submit all to stockpile to the Shield stockpile, what happens? It says one or more items are not reservable. That means effectively the way in which I remove the items from the refinery means they are now in the public domain, and it doesn't matter how I try and submit these, they will not go into a private stockpile. So the only option I have now is to share those resources with everyone. So something we can try is to pack material crates like this, go back to Shield, submit all to stockpile. It doesn't work because they have been unpacked when we took them out of the refinery. So I can now only submit them to the public stockpile, and there you go, they've been submitted into the public stockpile. That's not mine, that's this guy here. Mine have gone straight into the stockpile. Okay, so if you just click to remove the resources, whatever those resources are, and they come out uncrated, you can't put them into a private stockpile. So let's go back. Now we have my personal refinery items again. If I now right click and retrieve as crates, that again, it will fill the hauler with those items. BMATs again. So all we've done is, instead of just click on them, we've right clicked and selected the option to retrieve as crates. So we're now back at the seaport again. We're going to click to open the stockpile. We're going to go to the Shield SC stockpile. It's just an SC, it's just an abbreviation of the names. So now you'll see if I right click and submit all to stockpile on the private Shield stockpile, they'll go, because we haven't unpacked them when we took them from the refinery. So they are still, the phrase I use is, they're still considered private property in as much as they're still yours. So once you unpack an item from the refinery, even if it's just by clicking on it, you will then make that a public resource, and you can't put it into a private stockpile. So another little trick, so you've noticed that when you click on this, whatever resource it is, when you click on it, it fills the hauler. And there will be scenarios where you want to, you may want to go to a factory and you don't want to take everything out of the refinery. You might want to keep these here for a little longer. You can see it gives me the expiry time here, under 23 hours. So there's a little trick you can use. Let's say that I need to extract, let's say 300 BMATs. So I can just fill those slots with diesel, and then I have I have 4 slots left. So if I now click on the BMATs, you can see I have the 400 that I want. Then all you do is put all of these back, and you've got your 400 BMATs. So let's say we have the items in our truck. We don't, but let's say for argument's sake that we do. You have 2 options that you can use here. You have a mass production factory, which gives you a discounted, it gives you a discount to the cost of creating something compared to a factory or compared to a garage. So if you were to make, let's say, a number of vehicles in the mass production factory, you would get a discount. It would cost you less resources per vehicle and overall to make it in the mass production factory. The downside to that is it takes longer. The mass production factory is it takes quite some time to manufacture things. If, however, you're looking to do a quick run of a small number of items, the factories are the best to use. But these, again, if you use the mass production factory, your crafted resources will stay in there for a number of days. Now, I've actually had some some tankers that I crafted quite some time ago. I think like 3 or 4 days now, so possibly even longer. So this is the mass production. So you'll see that there is an item, a platform here to use a crane, and this is my, so you can see those. Now, if I wanted to retrieve these vehicles, obviously, if I want to retrieve a tanker and I click on that to retrieve them, they're going to go there. They don't go into this truck because obviously the truck can't carry tankers. So it's going to go to there, and you would need to retrieve that with a flatbed truck. So I'm just going to put this back. So anything like this, a vehicle, anything like a shipping container or any of these big items, you cannot fit into the truck that I'm in now. But if I have any smaller items, for example, let's see if there's anything in there. Okay, so ammunition, for example, I could now click on this and I would, well, I couldn't use them because I've got these 400 BMATs in here. Let's just put those in there temporarily. I could now click on that and they are now retrieved and in my vehicle, so I can now run those to the shield stockpile. So I've now put those in the stockpile for shield because I'm a good boy, and I actually need to pick that up and put that somewhere as well, but that was my personal one, so I'm not bothered if somebody else takes it, but I will move it eventually. So you will see from the mass production facility, let's say for example I want to get some garrison supplements, they're not here. So there are a number of items that you cannot make in the mass production facility, which means there are a number of items you cannot make with the benefit of having a reduced number of resources, despite the fact that it takes a long time. Now for the big items like this that I've just actually extracted, let's say I wanted to extract another one of these, a crate of 3 tankers. I click to extract it, it will put it here. Now I need a flatbed mule truck, which you guys will have seen in episode 1, and what you do is you pick it up and you drop that onto the flatbed, and then you can take it to the stockpile where you want to extract it, and then you can pull the vehicles out individually from there. So that's the mass production facility. I'm going to touch upon how we use that in more detail with a factory calculator in a short while. This is the standard factory, and you will see, so if I wanted to make garrison supplements now, for example, they're here, and they take 75 resources. Now, I think you can only make a maximum of 4, so let's click on 4. There we go. So click 4. Now, if I click to make those, you'll see it's only 23 minutes. So it is a lot faster to make items than is it if you were making them in the mass production facility, but the downside is they cost more resources. So if I wanted to make, let's say 120mm shells, which use 60 BMATs and 15 explosive mats, if I made those in the mass production facility, I would get more and the material cost would be a lot less. So I'm going to look at that in a short while, because I've actually prepared some materials so we can have a look at that and see how much it would cost to make in the mass production facility. Now, the downside to making in this factory is I think you get 2 hours to pull these resources out of the factory before they go to the public, whereas in the mass production facility they stay there, I think, for days. I'm not sure of the exact amount, but I think those tankers have been in there for about 3 days now for me, so you get a lot longer to withdraw them, but the downside is that they can take a long time, sometimes 12 hours in real-time hours. So now I'm going to show you how to use the crafting calculator, because you don't want to necessarily withdraw all of your resources from the refinery, but you may want to take items straight from the refinery to the factory. So let's say, for argument's sake, we want to make a run of 120mm shells in this factory, and then we're going to do another run of 120mm shells, so we can make 4 crates in this factory. I think we can make 9 in the mass production facility. So let's open up the crafting calculator. Right, here we go. This is the Foxhole Logistics calculator. You can find it at foxholelogi.com. I'll put the link in the description below. Now, first things first, you want to select your side in Colonial. That will filter down the items that I can use. Then we want to tell it that we're going to initially make in a factory, and we're going to make 120mm shells. So we want to click on this here, and we can make, I think it's 4 at a time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that will tell me I need 240 BMATs and 60 EMATs. Okay, so I need 240. I have 150. So I actually just need another 100. So if I click on this, I'm going to get all 500 explosive mats in my in here. So I need 60 of these, and I just need another 100 of those to be able to do that run. So I'm going to fill these. And then click on my B mats there. I'll get 100. I got 300 actually. That's okay. I'm going to waste some. That's not a problem. Now I know I need 60 E mats. So I put one of those back and I'll click on the E mats. I get 100 E mats. Right now, I haven't wasted any resources. They're still in the inventory, and I know now that I can make the items that I need. So I'm going to go back to the factory. Back at the factory, 120 mil shells. We click on that 4 times. We click on the play button there. Bang. It's taken the resources out. We now have those in production, and we now have these in production. Now we've only got a couple of hours to extract these. So let's say then, for example, we know that this in the mass production facility takes 60 B mats and 15 E mats. So we now go back to our calculator, and we're going to say we want to do the same, but we want to do it in a mass production facility. Okay, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see that it's now actually 180 and 44 E mats. So the fact that we're using the mass production facility means that it is a reduced resource per item. But the benefit is we can actually make 9 in the mass production facility. So we actually only need 330 and 79. So we can make more resources in the mass production facility. We can make more resources in the mass production facility using fewer materials. And now I know I need those resources. Let's go back and let's do a run in the mass production facility. Bear in mind, I have to come back to this factory. I've got to hang around here, because if I don't, those are going to go into the public domain fairly quickly. Again, so I need 79 E mats, so I just keep those here. Again, I'm going to fill this. And I need 330 B mats. So if I now click on that, I will get 300 and just get rid of that. And I mean, I could, if I wanted to, just top up the rest from public here, save wasting. And I've already got the 100 E mats, so it's explosive materials. So now there you go. I have more or less the exact amount that I need without any waste. It'd be very, very minimal amounts of waste. So that is much easier compared to just taking everything out. And that's just a little tip that I picked up from Mudface at Shield, so thank you for that, Mudface. And now we're at the mass production facility. We want 120 mil shells. Let's get that on screen. It's here, so I can now click that 9 times. 330 B mats and 79 E mats. It's actually counting the 21 there. It says I've got 121 because there's 21 there. If I now click on that, it's actually taken the 21 from there and left me with the 42. So I now have a flatbed, which I have extracted, and I can extract items from the factory, the mass production facility, and the refinery straight into a shipping container. Now there are 2 types of shipping containers, and it's important to note the difference. And I need to go to the public for this because we don't have any. So these small shipping containers there, these are shipping containers that you can put crates in, and they are accessible by hand. So if you're building a base out somewhere, you can take a flatbed. Most people would take an R1 truck with the crates in. This can hold a lot more. This can hold like 40 crates of B-mat. So I'm going to spawn this now and stick it on the flatbed, and I'm going to take it to the refinery, and we'll see if we can pull the B-mats into this shipping container. Now the R1 containers can hold, I think it's 15 crates of 100 each. This can hold 40, and this is accessible by hand. So now, for example, if we take this and I right click on that and retrieve as crates, I've got 40 crates of basic materials. I can repackage that. I can actually now use this to take it to the seaport and actually put it into the seaport, or I can stick it on the back of here. If I go somewhere where you're building a base that has a crane, for example, you need a crane to offload it, you can actually access these things on foot. So you can also, alternatively, if you were just shifting materials around and you didn't need to access them by hand, you can take this small shipping container, sorry, you can take a large shipping container, put it on the pad there and fill that. And I think I'm right in saying they hold 50 B mats or 50 crates of any item. We're offloading from the flatbed. We're going to put it on the pad. So we have 133 crates of B mats there. I can now submit them to the stockpile. Actually, I'm going to submit all, sorry. Right, so I've put all 40 of those. Now, the alternative is you use one of those canvas back trucks and you run 15 crates at a time. So, or you can just do it using these shipping containers. And one final thing to show you with the mistake that I made in extracting this item. Somebody's unpackaged it, I think, unhelpfully. Package that up again. Somebody's obviously having a nose to see what it was. So these are the tankers that I extracted from the mass production facility. And if you want to put those in a stockpile, you can just load them up directly. You don't need any container at all. They come straight out of the factory. So they are able to be dropped onto a flatbed like this. And you can drop that on there, and then the same with any other item. You can take this, you can take it off the crane at the seaports or at the storage depot, and you can ooh, hello Mr. Motorbike, and you can drop them into the seaport. So we're just going to drop this one into the shield stockpile as well, and onto the pad. And then we should be able to drop this straight into the private stockpile because it's been retrieved as an itemized container. It's a private still. And there you go. I just want to say thank you again for watching and for all your support. And thank you to Shield for all my training. It's very much appreciated. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or leave me a comment if there's anything that I've missed. Bye for now.